Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Taking forward the life experience I was sharing with you, linking the various concepts we are discussing in the context of pragmatic leadership as well as in the context of theory of happiness. So, when I finished my school education, I was very keen to become an engineer, as I mentioned to you in the previous session. So, as a growing youngster with the limited exposure in the mid 60s or so I was just trying to get some reasonable scores in my school final. And as I mentioned to you, I wanted to take charge of my life, and my father was trying to facilitate me to the extent that is possible by him. And I also mentioned to you, I born in a family of 12 people as the last child when the entire resources are drained up, when I was really needing a higher education. So it's not anything exceptional that happened in my life, because almost all youngsters in India who are of my age group or probably little younger during that time have gone through a similar kind of a situation. So that means life teaches you a lot of good lessons, particularly when you are really having too many stumbling blocks in the course of your life. So I was very ambitious to prepare for my school final exam, because on those days, if you score anything more than 400 out of 600 marks, you will probably get a reasonable admission in best colleges. So, like any other youngsters, I was very studious in my education, and I was fairly gifted with a high level of IQ, and I was very good in studies, and hence I was also putting a lot of efforts on my own. Looking back right up to my childhood, I don't remember at any point in time either my parents or my elder brothers have told me that what I need to do with my life. So that has helped me to become almost a self-made person. So I was just thinking on my own, and then taking decisions how I should move up in my career. So like any other youngster on those days, the ambition was to become an engineer, and I wanted to become a graduate engineer, obviously, because on those days there was a stigma in the southern part of India that anybody who has done their diploma engineering course are not recognized as engineers. Is somewhat very strange, which is not the case in the rest of the world. So people recognize you if you are a graduate engineer, then only they recognize you as an engineer. So I was aiming to get into an engineering graduation course, for which doing a pre-university in a good college is essential. So in life, you find things don't unfold the way in which you want, which I learned it later. And also the most important lesson I learned is almost 99.9% of the things happen in your life are not the ones what you wanted it. So, and hence, disappointment is the part of the human life, which is a biggest learning for me later. But as a budding youngster who is in the school final, suddenly there was a anti-Hindi agitation that was called for by MK party at the time, which was not the ruling party. And all the students were diverted into, this kind of agitation. So, a totally unbridled age, and there is no one to guide any of me and my colleagues. We all got into this kind of agitation, and then the exams were postponed, and the entire focus on getting into writing the exam and getting a good score, etc., have completely derailed. So the exam was postponed by almost 3 to 4 months, and by the time the exams all resumed, the entire preparation got evaporated. So although I'm a very studious student with a lot of capabilities in terms of my IQ, I ended up getting not a very good score in my school final. With the result, then my whole ambition to go and get into the premium college for doing my pre-university course was in a question mark. So on those days, for you to go and study in this type of pre-university course, you must have minimum 400 out of 600. But I scored about 352 out of 600. So which has completely thwarted all my kind of an ambition to get into the pre-university course and then subsequently go for a engineering graduation kind of a course. So I became one of the devastated youngster because all my dreams were all completely destroyed. With the result, I was terribly frustrated and then I didn't know what to do. So my elder brothers who were working in engineering firm, they told me that since you could not go for an engineering degree course, at least you join the polytechnic and do your diploma in engineering, and then later on you can take up your engineering graduation at some other time. But unfortunately, as an youngster grown in the southern part of India, where diploma course is a stigma for the societal kind of a perception, I refused to go to the polytechnic, and finally I neither got into a pre-university course nor got into a polytechnic course, and it was just a kind of a devastated dream, and look forward to kind of someone to guide me what I need to do forward. So this is the time that an youngster who can't think on his own and then fully frustrated about the life's incidences. I was just sitting in one of the friends' cycle shop and looking forward to some kind of a venting. So always a frustrated mind is trying to lead to some kind of habits. So as almost 15-16-year-old youngster, I started smoking. So smoking became an habit. Retrospectively looking backward, that how these habits are catching up the youngsters, be it a drug addiction or be it drinking alcohol or smoking or whatever it is. I'm just trying to look back and how these things are happening in a youngster's life. So that's what it is. So I was smoking and then whiling away my time, and 1 year I was neither gone for an education, sitting as a frustrated or duck or whatever you may call it. So that is what it is, the end of my school final. So why I'm trying to relate these stories, because it is extremely important that how we are trying to realize what's happening in our life. Is something it shouldn't be happening, and then are you getting devastated and completely getting destroyed, or whether you are catching up and taking responsibility and move forward. So in the next session, I will try and explain to you how I recovered from this shock of the crisis that happened in my early education stages. So look forward to share with you more and more detail, and I will try to connect these experiences with the topics I'm discussing in the leadership book, as well as my rest of the topic that I will be covering with you. So thank you very much for listening to me, and look forward to see you in the future sessions. Take care. God bless you.